So good afternoon, everyone. My name is Amanda. I work with Aurora Research Institute in Inuvik. So I want to thank everyone for tuning in this afternoon to ARI's first virtual speaker series. As part of ARI's mandate to communicate science to the people in the Northwest Territories, we've been running a speaker series out of the Western Arctic Research Center in Inuvik in person for quite a few years now. This year, however, we've had to adapt our speaker series, so we're really excited that we're able to continue in a virtual setting. Over the next few months and into 2021, we look forward to holding more virtual speaker series and being able to share some of the research and results and exciting things that are happening in the Northwest Territories with everybody. Today, we're joined by ARI staff, Garfield Giff and Kelty Ferguson. Garfield and Kelty are going to give a demonstration of their recently developed Minerals Strategy Geographic Information Systems, or MSGIS, tool. And Kelty will tell you a little bit more about the usefulness and the applicability of the tool. Before we get started, there's just a few housekeeping things that I wanted to go over, just so you're aware of how you can really fully participate in today's event. So we're going to have a 20-minute presentation and demonstration from Kelty. At any time during the webinar, you'll be able to submit your questions to the speakers. To do so, all you have to do is type your question into the Q&A little box at the bottom of the control panel. You can also put it in the chat if you wish, but there is a Q&A section that will help us track it. So after the demonstration, Garfield and Kelty will have about 10 to 15 minutes to be able to answer any of your questions and also show you if there's specific things in the tool that you want to see. They can pull up and kind of give you an example of things in the tool. So just so everybody is aware, we are recording this webinar and we are going to make it available on the ARI website in the very near future. So we'll send an email to all of the participants of the webinar today with the link, just so you're able to access this webinar, as well as the link for the actual MSGIS tool, so you can take some time to explore it on your own. So with that, I'm going to turn over the presentation now to Kelty, who's going to walk you through the MSGIS tool.
Thank you, Amanda. Hello, everyone. As Amanda said, my name is Kelty Ferguson, and I am a GIS technician here in Inuvik. Thank you all for joining us for this presentation and also for your interest in the MSGIS. So we will first be learning about the tool, the background, and how to use it, and then we will begin looking at a couple demonstrations that hopefully illustrate potential uses of the tool. And with that, I will begin sharing my screen and get into the presentation. Hello, and welcome to the demonstration of the GIS for supporting mineral strategies in the Western Arctic, or MSGIS. We will first be going over the background of the project, then we'll learn how to use the tool, and then we will take a look at a couple different examples demonstrating how to actually apply what we've learned in the tool and hopefully understand how the tool can be applied. The MSGIS is designed to bring together meaningful and current data from a variety of fields in order to support well-planned, eco, and community-friendly investments in mineral exploration. Anyone can use the tool to explore and understand relationships between the different types of data. For example, if I'm interested to know both the bedrock geology and what species at-risk animal ranges exist at a proposed development site. It is a visual and interactive online tool which integrates geoscience data with other regulatory, cultural, and environmentally significant data sets, such as land use plans and important wildlife areas in the Northwest Territories. Since 2008, The Geomapping for Energy and Minerals program by Natural Resources Canada, or the GEM program for short, has aimed to modernize the geological picture of the North, and in doing so has produced more than 1,000 new and updated maps and reports. By incorporating this geoscience data with important sociological and environmental data, the MSGIS will support informed decision-making through presenting and analyzing data for general use in a clear and understandable manner. As we will see later on, the viewer can select a custom configuration of the datasets to view on the map. By then selecting a location of interest, the MSGIS will illustrate what is where and help in understanding cumulative impacts on the land. The tool will also facilitate the visual sharing of knowledge, as users can create maps, images, and web links showing their results, assisting in effective information transfer. This will allow for individuals to have an active voice in land and resource decision-making. So with that background out of the way, we will now begin looking at the MSGIS itself. We have built the MSGIS using the ArcGIS online platform, which has allowed us to configure both publicly and privately shared data. We will be taking a look at the publicly shared data today. By following the web address msgis-nwt.maps.arcgis.com, and don't worry, we will be providing a link in the post-webinar email as well. You don't have to remember that. You are brought to the homepage of the tool. On the homepage, we have links to the MSGIS application itself and the user guide explaining how to use it. We'll be looking at that shortly. There are also a few standalone maps showcasing just the geomapping for energy and minerals data used in the MSGIS. We have also included links to other NWT-based data hubs and web mapping applications. There's a wealth of information on these apps spanning the entire Northwest Territories, while the MSGIS has a narrowed specifically to the Western Arctic view. These web mapping applications are also great for checking out if you're interested in a specific type of data. For example, if you're interested in primarily the mineral tenure, I recommend checking out the Mineral Tenure Map Viewer, which has information directly from the Mining Recorder's Office from the Department of Industry, Tourism, and Investment, Government of the Northwest Territories. We have also included links to a variety of relevant and important text-based documents related to land use planning, mineral strategies, and the GEM program. This includes documents such as the Gwich'in Land Use Plan, the Community Conservation Plans of the communities of the ISR, the Roadmap to Mineral Exploration and Development in the Inuvialuit Settlement Region, and the Guide to Mineral Opportunities in the Gwich'in Settlement Area, among others. We will now navigate to the user guide. The user guide will cover the topics of opening the application, an overview of tools and widgets, how to view and explore both groups of data sets and individual data layers, and how to use the tools. We'll be looking at the Select tool, the Share tool, and then also the Attribute table. After opening the MSGIS web mapping application from the MSGIS homepage, you'll be greeted with the welcome screen. Click OK to acknowledge and enter the app. The default configuration for when you enter the app will be with no data shown. You will be able to select which data layers you wish to display, which we will demonstrate later. On subsequent visits to the application, there is the option to restore the map image to where you left off on your last visit. There are some basic information tools that are used to display information about the map that we will go over first. In the bottom left corner, there's a scale bar, a very important element of every map. This will automatically update as you use the plus and minus buttons just above it to zoom in and out. You also can use a scroll wheel or your trackpad to control the zoom level. In the bottom right corner, there is the coordinates of your mouse pointer on the map. given in decimal degrees longitude and latitude. Above that, there's the option to make the map full screen. And in the top right corner, there is an arrow that you can click to open up a small overview map. This will help, when really zoomed in, to know where the map is currently showing. In the widget toolbar across the bottom of the screen, there is also a search bar. You can search either by address or directly by coordinates, and the map will place a pop-up on that spot. That pop-up will have the option to zoom in directly to that location. This is also where the legend, the dataset layer controls, and the analysis tools are located. Clicking on a widget icon will bring up the tools pop-up, which is how viewers will be able to interact with and configure the MSGIS map. So now we will be looking at how to view and explore the data. The dataset layer widgets are how you control what data is shown on your screen. The datasets have been grouped into themes. You can display datasets from multiple themes at a time. The group themes are surficial geology, bedrock geology, land use planning, ecology and wildlife layers, oil, gas, and mineral layers, and then the GEM publications. You can hover over the widget in the app and a pop-up with the name of the layer will show. Clicking on a layer widget will bring up a dataset pop-up with the datasets in that layer group. From here, you can turn on and off datasets, which will change what you see displayed on the map. So to do that, you click on the little box beside the name of the data layer, or in the top right corner, there's a little icon with 3 lines. If you click that, it brings up a few more options. You can expand and collapse all layers, or you can turn on and off all layers. Click on the 3 dots beside the individual dataset layer name to expand more options. Some datasets have built-in visibility scales, which means they will only show up on the map once a certain zoom level has been reached. Zoom 2 will bring you to the correct scale to view the data, or you can go in and actually adjust the visibility range with the Set Visibility Range option. So if you prefer to see all your data on the map all the time at all scales, you can go in and configure that. Click on the Show Item Details to be brought to the information page of the dataset and see the layer metadata. Clicking on the map will bring up a pop-up displaying information about the datasets at that point. The pop-up will display information from one record at a time, and the record shown on the pop-up will be outlined on the map in bright blue. There can be multiple records from an individual dataset overlapping at one location. Click on the small triangle in the top right corner of the pop-up to see the information from the different records. If you click on the Legend widget, it will bring up the Legend pop-up, which will display the legend information for the items shown on the map. So if you zoom into the data and you have a data set that has that layer visibility set and it shows up because you've zoomed in enough, the legend will automatically update to display the legend information for that data set. You can open the attribute table by clicking on the small tab at the very bottom center of your screen. The attribute table shows the information in the dataset layer, and this includes information that may not be shown on the pop-up. So if you're familiar with GIS, it has the fields and the information, the attribute information for the fields. Similar to the legend, the attribute table will automatically update depending on what layers you have turned on and visible. So in the case of the attribute table, they show up as different tabs across the top bar of the attribute table, and you can click through them to see the different data sets. You can select attributes by clicking on the square beside the record. Select multiple records by holding the Shift or Control key. Those records will now show up as highlighted in blue on the map as well as in the attribute table. If you click on the Options button on the top left corner of the attribute table, it brings up a menu. You can click Filter to bring up a pop-up window which allows you to filter the data sets to show only items that match the filter expression. Beside the Options menu button, there's a Zoom to button. If you click that, the map will zoom to the selected attributes. You can open the Select tool by clicking on the button on the widget toolbar. You can use the Select tool to select items on the map either by point, by rectangle, by polygon, or by line. The tool will only select layers that are configured to be currently visible on the map and that have been made selectable in the tool's pop-up. So to do that, you click on the box beside the layer names. You can make all records selectable by clicking on the button beside layer. The selections will be shown highlighted in blue on the map and in the attribute table. You can also configure the attribute table to display only the selected records out of the entire record dataset. You can add to the current selection by holding the Shift key and selecting more features, or remove from the current selection by holding the Control key and selecting more features. You can interact further with the selected data by clicking the ... beside the layer name. This allows you to export the data, zoom to the selected records, and view the data in the attribute table. The Share tool allows the users to share a link to the app or embed the app in a website. Expand the link options by clicking on the button to customize how the shared map is displayed. Click the check mark beside Remember Layer Visibility to share the map as is, with the data you have configured to be shown on it when it is shared. You can add a marker to highlight a specific spot on the map among various configuration options. In the advanced private user version of the application, there are also analysis tools in which you can perform buffering, overlay analysis, and querying and exporting data. So that is the end of the user guide. What we will do now is take a look at the actual MSGIS itself, the application, through the view of 2 case studies.
Okay, and with that, I will temporarily stop sharing my screen. And hi. So now we have pre-recorded 2 demonstrations. We're going to try it this way because I suspected that trying to stream and upload data via Zoom would use the majority of my internet, and the tool itself would take a while to load. But I hope that once you guys all get the link, you can explore the tool yourself. And yeah, with that, I will now begin sharing the video of the demonstration.
Now onto the demo. I'm going to open up my public map viewer, and that interested in the geology
particularly in diamonds in the Northwest Territories. So I'm going to open the app, acknowledge the data disclaimer, and then I am going to open the dataset layer group of oil, gas, and minerals. I can see the first layer is kimberlite indicator and diamond database, diamond presence. So it is data that has been configured to show where data presence has been found. I'm going to turn that on. And it's still grayed out because there is a scale set visibility range existing. So what I'm going to do is zoom to the data level, and that will bring the map right to the data, and it shows up. So I can see 3 records right here. Now I can also click the 3 dots beside the data layer and click show item details. And this will bring me to information about the data group. And if I click on the individual data layer, that will bring me to the metadata and primary source information, which is very important because it's always important to remember that data is only as accurate as it is to the date it was published. So if I click on the record, I can scroll through and see various pieces of information. And what I'm interested in right now is finding out if there are existing mining leases and mineral claims at these locations. So I'm going to turn on those layers. They show up, and I'm going to now open up the legend so I know what I'm looking at. So I can see we've got active and canceled mining leases and active and canceled mineral claims. So now if I click on those records, the pop-up has more information. So if we tab through, now it is showing me that right here, there is a leased mineral claim and a canceled mineral claim and an active mining lease at this location. Whereas at this location, there are not. So potentially interesting to me. Let's say I'm now interested in the geology of the region. Maybe I can hypothesize that there could be some common thread present at these 3 locations that I could then search for in other locations as well. So I'm going to open up my superficial geology dataset layer and turn on all the layers. Turn off the index map, which gives us information about the source of the superficial geology. And now there's a lot of data on here. So what I am going to do is open up my select tool. I'm going to make all layers selectable and then select by rectangle right at this point here. So now, as I scroll through this, I can see what layers have been selected and how many records are in that group. So I'm seeing there's 1 record in the superficial geology 1 to 5 million scale. So that's our large scale entire area superficial data set. And I want to add to the current selection, I think, because I didn't quite capture the whole area. So now I can see there are some at the larger scale, finer detailed data set. So this is the one I'm interested in. I want to view this in the attribute table. So that will show me the selected records. So quickly looking through, I can see that we've got colluvial and mass wasting deposits, bedrock deposits, and some glacial sediments. So now, if I was interested, I could clear the selection
and then filter the records of this entire data set to show only those types of data. By doing that, I could zoom out and see on the map where similar areas might be. So that is the first demonstration.
Okay. Great. And sorry, Garfield, I heard myself say large scale when I meant small scale. Don't know if anyone else noticed that. So that was our first demonstration, taking a look primarily at the geology and the mineral, oil, and gas layers. Now we are going to start our second demo, which will explain itself to you shortly.
So now for our second demonstration, that I want to look at the same area, but with the aim of understanding better the regulatory zoning rules in the area, any sites that may be designated important in community conservation plans, and important wildlife information. So first, I'm going to open up the wildlife and ecology group and turn on these layers. So just visually, I can see that we're nearby to some protected and conserved areas, such as the National Park and the Marine Protected Area. We are near some important wildlife areas, so near a core calving and post-calving area for the barren ground caribou. But at this point that I'm interested in right here, I did not see those. I saw species at risk range map extents and ecoregions. So we're in the low Arctic North ecoregion, and we are in the species at risk range map for a number of species. So important considerations to keep in mind. I will turn those off now. And let me open the land use planning. So I know I'm in the Inuvialuit settlement region, so I am going to turn on my community conservation plan zones and the municipal boundaries. So I can see Paulatuck right there. So now when I click through on the pop-up, I can see the various management category records that exist at that location. So again, highlighted in blue is the entire area that it's referencing, and information about it is on the pop-up. So I can tab through and read all those, or I can open up the attribute table, navigate to Zone C, and then I have to select my record. So once again, I'm going to select by rectangle. And now I can see that we have 15 records in the Community Conservation Plan Zone C data overlapping there, and 1 record from Zone D, but no from Zone E. So from this search, I can also view in the attribute table. And if I'm interested, I can take that data and export it to an Excel file so that I've got those records. I can email someone and say, these are all the community conservation plan areas that exist at this one location. I'm going to now clear my selection. center in on this area of interest and share the map. So I can add a marker to the map. Want it to be, click right there. And remember layer visibility. So now I can email this to someone and say, check this out. This is what's going on in the area. Okay, and that is the end of our second demonstration.
Okay, thanks for watching, everyone. Hopefully technology has cooperated with us. And yeah, if anyone has any questions or wants to see anything from that demo kind of live on the app, we can try that out in the question and answer period now. But just keep in mind that the internet resources